Welcome back, OGN Legion, to LCK Spring 2018. It's been a weird day today, and the weirdness continued with MVP picking up the victory over BBQ, despite the fact Grace did a lot of damage.
It's been so weird that I would call it weird, mate, because it's been a strange one from start to finish. BBQ way ahead, specifically Crazy having quite a game on the Vladimir, putting out big damage numbers. But snafu around Baron into a turret dive in bot lane. The game was over. Super tank line meant that Ezreal was under no threat. Specifically, the mid laner Ian on the Azir, being able to pick up his second Azir win of the season. And MVP only had 2 game wins over SKT to show for them. They now have 3, pinching one for BBQ Olivers. Not much to split between these two teams. Speaking of splits, the MVP here will be Max on the Taric. Some good Cosmic Radiances allowed them to extend the game to victory.
Yeah, actually felt like ADD was pretty amazing on the Cho'Gath as well, weathering a pretty difficult storm in the lane, but this is exactly that moment where it all went wrong. And we have to go pretty late into the game to get a replay where it looked good for MVP.
Because they were just losing, you know? It just felt like they were going to be eventually starved out, and a better team would have done that, but this was a really, really big mistake around the Baron. Against the Cho'Gath, silencing the Vlad. Kills on even the Vladimir were confirmed, and then they get into the backline. This is the time, right? But there's no threat onto the backline. Azir and Ezreal able to free hit. One after the other, they die. Why not turret dive? That feast was pretty insane. It meant goodbye Ghost and goodbye BBQ.
Yeah. ADD was just so incredibly tanky, but you're exactly right. The Cosmic Radiances were in the right spots, created the opportunities, and I always just like it when Max gets an MVP because it makes me feel like I got
I mean, the MVP fans all throughout the break and now are losing their minds over MVP winning, and when you don't win very much, I guess it's time to cheer.
Yeah.
So I feel good about this one. A smile on the face of Beyond, who missed just about every Sejuani ultimate. It didn't matter because we got to 40 minutes.
Oh, it was not a great time. Now they're going to switch sides. We'll see whether MVP now on the blue side are going to be able to close this one out 2-0, which would be a pretty amazing feat for a team that lost every single game until they managed to beat SKT very recently.
I think this one's going 3. I think MVP will have to deal with BBQ annoyed after game 1 and might be able to put together a better strategy. No one's allowed to play Skarner this series.
The power pick in the Skarner going to be taken away.
Banned on blue and red side. Beyond must, on his second account that we don't have access to, just be bossing it up on the Skarner.
God.
Sadly, Ignar is never going to be allowed to play Alistar. BBQ needs some carries in other roles if he's going to play Alistar, it turns out.
I feel like that is the case. And will it just be the same bans, you know? Gangplank and Corki could be the options here for BBQ once again if they'd like to.
I think it's time for them to mess around a little bit. I don't think they're going to necessarily be as bound to what happened in game 1, and for some reason they ban away Sejuani. It's a power pick, and they don't want to pick it up on the second round. They don't want to give MVP a first pick and a second round Sejuani.
Now, to MVP leave up the Zoe and go for it on Ian again? I mean, he's played it 3 times, and it's been woeful.
It hasn't been good, so you would imagine it could be a blue side ban here, because Tempt is pretty adept at the Zoe.
Yeah.
They're going to ban the Vladimir. I mean, Vladimir did pose them a lot of problems. Can lock in Sion even more happily if you ban away the Vladimir.
Exactly. Gangplank
so
going to be the last one.
And Vlad. Yeah. Well, no top laners left, guys. Pack it in.
Pack it in. ADD pretty happy about that because his top laners aren't exactly meta, but the Zoe being looked at, the 4th outing here for Ian. He'll need to turn around what was some tough times. Teemo, of course, they left that up. Idiots. Never mind. Zoe going to be locked away, and now BBQ. Lots of power, lots of options.
Yeah, even into it. Ryze and Azir both up to go competitive. Previously, we thought Zoe was the ultra counter to Azir, but over time, Azir looking a bit better and a good champion for Tempt.
Is that Twisted Fate going to be the option, though, Papa? I mean, we could see BBQ taking that one.
That was the point that I made in game 1, is that Tempt has been playing the Twisted Fate into the Zoe, and it was a pick in Splice versus HK yesterday, so it feels like more and more people are liking it. I'd love to see it.
I just miss Twisted Fate, you know, Destiny ganks, things like that. All sorts of fun.
Both of us arrived too late for the famous season where Twisted Fate was banned in every single series of, I believe it was, I want to say like spring 2014, might have been winter 2013.
We were still casting just back in Australia, Papa.
Watching the good old Monty and Doa, but sadly, it's just going to be Galio in the face of the Zoe.
mean, Temp just didn't have his greatest experience on the champion, and now we get the coveted Zoe Ezreal combo for the sick poke and siege.
But for, I believe, the first time this season, we get the coveted Kha'Zix Galio combo as well. So maybe Bono can actually get his invade on. Yeah. Beyond might just go Rek'Sai here and just deal with it.
He does like the Rek'Sai. As ADD really liked the Cho'Gath.
It's good against Galio, should be noted. Always was because of the true damage.
So ADD is going to be playing top Zoe. Nice.
I mean, composition.
I know.
You're the same guy as like Jungle Ezreal Puck Champ.
Hey, wait.
Kha'Zix top Puck Champ.
I mean, Jungle Ezreal was a thing. Kha'Zix top was a thing for like a very small portion of a patch cycle.
Very facetious of you.
It was. But Tahm Kench is going to be locked in. That's not at the mid lane, guys. That's going to be Ignar's champion, and not exactly what we want Ignar to be on. We want him to be playing more engaged style. I like the Rakan, even though they didn't manage to find the win, and we'll see whether he can transition to this disengage mode. Doesn't really fit with the Galio necessarily, who wants to be just getting in there. See how they make this one work. The Taric banned away, a lot of respect for Max.
I think BBQ should last pick for Crazy. He's been playing a lot of Jace, so maybe they just first pick on the red side Jace, but I guess Cho'Gath is already locked in, so I'm pretty sure that's going to be a top lane Cho'Gath.
Free
Max on the
Kalista
screen.
bans coming in from MVP.
Max on the screen could be giving us our first ever support Cho'Gath.
Hey, that's true. Or support Zoe. Haven't seen that one before.
All of those possible.
Not probable. Definitely possible. As the meta supports are going to be banned away, Max just straight up doesn't care. Braum and Taric, not necessarily his wheelhouse, as Ghost is being invited to play the Kalista again.
Kalista would be very powerful here. Jinx would also be fine. Any hyper carry would be pretty good here.
Yep.
So we'll see what the decision is. They're going to last pick 80 carry. Thoughts of Jinx definitely start to intensify.
Yeah, and Fiora being considered. That's odd, but no, it's going to be the Ornn. Taken away for Crazy.
Must watch top
massive,
lane.
Yeah. Oh, no. No! The most wettest of noodles. I mean,
there's a lot of wet noodles going on here. It's only Zoe that does real damage.
Oh, man. This is like burly tanks with ranged wave clear.
Speaking of burly tanks,
let's get some more. Beyond. Hop onto the Zac. Let's go.
There's going to be a lot of space for Ezreal and Zoe to do damage.
There is. A ruckus can certainly be created by MVP right now, but it means that their early game
and Alistair,
power from the jungle, not exactly super up there.
Never mind.
Yeah, Alistair's always. This is a BBQ game.
I know. My bad. Looking for a support here, or a sick flex.
He's been playing a lot of Thresh and solo queue. Don't know whether he'll actually pick it
I was actually going to say Janna out loud, but then I was like, that's silly. But it was actually not a bad pick in this scenario.
So many knockups coming in from MVP.
It does very well in lane into the Tahm Kench, but also in team fights, interrupting the ultimate from Ornn. We saw Effort do that really well for SKT. Are we going to see our first Jinx? It's something that you could definitely play in this scenario. Caitlyn will be ultra safe and makes more sense with sieging. It's just going to be a Caitlyn.
Oh dear. Well, they can do their best Teddy impression. Ghost will certainly be able to take some control towards the late game, but see whether it can actually make it to 50 minutes.
You look at this come from BBQ and you think basically the same thing that KT Rolster tried to win against Kingzone Dragon X, got smashed on. So we'll see if they can play around the pressure that Caitlyn will provide in the bot lane. Janna Ezreal, not known for lane presence. Even WMax Janna's not going to be able to do too much there, as Max is one of our biggest resident Janna players. They can also look to invade very confidently, as Zac is obviously not going to be skirmishing very well in the early game. I feel like early to mid game BBQ should be very, very powerful. But then they will have the same hump that we saw happen with Jin'e earlier today.
Yep.
And they'll need their Caitlyn to hit 6 items to win mid to late game team fights. Only ultra late they can come back in. So it's really interesting windows to follow here for MVP versus BBQ. Interesting draft phase, no ultra carry, sadly no Jinx, but more Cho'Gath for ADD.
I really do like it. ADD looked great in game number 1, and I feel like if he has the same performance, maybe he'll get the MVP that he deserves. Beyond may actually have a rough time against Bono in the early stages of this game. I don't know whether he's going to have it in him to do the peanut performance with the early game Zac prowess. And you always have question marks when it's Ian's Zoe. It just doesn't necessarily look like the other Zoes, and he's got a lot to prove to us now.
Not a lot of targets to hit either until the team fight phase. Let's see if Bono can have a performance as good as his first one, he needs to be aggressive to make this draft work.
Yeah, it was a fun draft, and we'll see whether they're going to be able to make it work as we get into game number 2, guys. MVP versus BBQ Olivers right about now.
미니언 생성까지 30초 남았습니다.
I think the cheerleader for MVP. Whoa.
As I said,
They're
even
losing
during
their
the
mind.
break, they were popping off.
Yeah.
So
But now we've there's been some free chicken dispersed amongst the crowd, guys. So I think that's why BBQ had a little bit of extra oomph behind their cheer, and also why I think maybe there was chicken in the mouth of the girl leading the cheer for MVP.
I mean, Ian has a lot of big fans, actually. I think he has a really rabid stream community, so he always mobilizes a lot of fans here.
We should probably get that checked out.
His fan community?
Yeah, if they're rabid.
They're certainly excited. And the potential for an MVP victory is something definitely to garner excitement. So we'll see how MVP will do in Game 2. Nice deep ward by BBQ.
Really cute one.
Yeah, to spot the pathing here of the Zac. It's actually getting a leash on the walls. Now, Zac famously, if he hits level 2, can do the blue buff and the Gromp at the same time. That's why he gets a leash on the wolves first, so that he can just leash both of the Gromp and the blue and power farm.
Well, he's going up to do that right now. Ping's coming in, beyond just letting everyone know exactly what's happening. And took a fair bit of damage. Didn't find that first paddle star, which was going for the chunk. But why are we even looking at the top right?
Show us the sick double camp.
There we go.
Now, we've seen people screw this up and de-leash, so we'll see how we do here.
Yeah, this has happened actually quite often.
You don't want to use the Q too much, otherwise it might actually push them away. As AD and Crazy going for Merry Walk.
Guys, this isn't the lane. As wow, that did a lot of damage. Crazy's like, oh wait, there weren't any minions in the river. Okay. Interesting. Tiny little Cho'Gath is hilarious after you've seen him huge at the end of the game prior.
And look, there's a new rune. We never see Grasp of the Undying in competitive play.
Hey, yeah, true. I think first was actually, was it Keen from
We've seen like
Freak of Freaks
4
on
of them
Gangplank?
all season, maximum.
Yeah, not been a lot.
Bono's gone for what we said aggression. I thought it might be counter jungling, but how about killing?
Wow, looking for the bottom lane here as well. Could be frustrating. They are shoving quite effectively on the side of MVP. But look at this big wraparound. Decent position now for Max and Pilot as Bono has finally been spotted. Arcane Shift immediately uses the heal just to make sure that he's alive.
Now you might wonder, how was Bono there so fast? Crazy started Smite with the Unsealed Spellbook instead of Ignite. We're so focused on the Zac that we only mention it now, but he did that to actually buy extra time off of the jungle clear for Bono to allow him to get bot lane earlier. That's the sort of bot lane gank timing that you don't scout. Now, they would, of course, known the Smite was there, but any absent-minded thinking, and the jungle can be there faster than expected. So that's why we see the Smite start. It's not an Ignite, but igniting the Cho'Gath's not going to lead to a kill, so he just went with, okay, let's speed up the jungle clear time, and that's why we see Ornn with Smite in the game.
Yeah, and also, it is the Summoner Airy on the Janna, so could be going for a W max. Cheeky little play. As they've gone barrier heal on the bottom
It's
side.
back. Max was the first to do this. They were the first team to run these heal Jannas, and also Max was the first Janna we had to go very deep into gold per 10 in the runes, you'll remember. But
yeah.
no longer a possibility now, as those runes are gone. Welcome the new runes. Don't allow as much gold generation, at least for Humble Janna. And Ian got one of them teleports.
He did. That's a good one,
Isn't life
especially
grand?
now. Actually winning by quite a lot as well, given the fact that Tempt did have to go back, grabbed himself an extra ring and some shoes. Minion Dematerializer picked up for Ian as well on his Spellbook Zoe.
6 items.
Nice.
Really fast.
Yeah, that's huge. I can't believe it. Ian Zoe's improved so much. Okay, A to D all of a sudden having a terrible time.
Both of these champions do surprising trade damage, actually. The full WQ auto. So W auto attack from the Ornn does big damage, and AD's actually run himself from trying to get Glass of the Undying procs.
Feeling great about it, though. And these are sort of the examples of the two top lane big beefy tanks that have decent wave clear as well. I feel like it's going to be the ultra most uninteractive by the end of things when they each have some items.
Where do you foresee the interactions happening?
Well,
this is pretty non-interactive video game.
As it's today, the 10th of February just hasn't been a great day. As always, legitimately blue-screened. That wasn't great from Tempt, but I like how he had his wings out.
Ezreal Janna versus Caitlyn Tahm Kench. You don't want to gank that one. Mid lane, I guess you can gank a Zoe, so Bono will take some interest in top lane. You know, so kind of power farming time for both of these. If that shields Beyond from any jungle invasion, he'll definitely be happy about it.
Yeah.
He has the outscale potential on the Kha'Zix in most normal scenarios. Bono himself, speaking of power farming, is actually at least a bit of experience. About one camp short of Beyond, who is going to come and clear this control ward.
Yeah, and you can see Bono actually didn't want to fight it. Level advantage for the Zac, enough to deter him from going aggressive. No AD picked up. There's pings everywhere. The junglers find each other, and Beyond's going to elastically slingshot himself away.
Really like the positioning in lane from Ian. He was actually standing in front of the enemy ranged minions to zone. Does allow him first roam as well, so he's really being assertive in lane, trying to control the Galio. Doesn't want to opt into free damage.
Also forcing Tempt to use all of his mana super early as well. So he has gone back, Tempt electrocute on the Galio.
You don't get away with just, say, double Dorans and clearing the backline at level 5 anymore on the Galio. You need to get the auto attack in to make it happen. So if he's going through 2 rounds of Winds of War to clear because Zoe's doing such a great job of zoning, Ian's, at least in terms of laning specifically, doing a really good job against Galio so far, even if it's just a 10 CS lead. So it doesn't necessarily show it.
Yeah. Like it from Ian. Took him 3 games. Of course, we did mention that his Zoe was not the most impressive. Didn't come out with a performance like Edge has shown us, for example. Edge, the first to really demonstrate some prowess and some flashiness with the Zoe. Heated East is going to start munching on some of these creeps, so that feast is going to start stacking up and it will become regular Cho'Gath size.
Rune-wise, Glacial Augment on the Tahm Kench is a fun one.
Yeah, he actually took that last game as well, I believe.
Yeah, second time we've seen it, just to go for the real catch build. If you're ever caught, say, freezing a lane as a support or something like that, first auto might actually seal your demise, so don't mind it. And we do see some buffs to Glacial Augment on future patches, so I think we'll be seeing more of that rune.
Yep.
I feel with Frozen Mount heavily nerfed in future patches and Glacial Augment stronger, we might see a bit of a movement in terms of runes.
Also just surprisingly works well with Tahm Kench's kit, guaranteeing the extra auto attacks to get the nom-nom. Just eating someone as Tahm Kench is something you don't often get to do unless they're your teammate, which is a little bit sad.
Tempt probably going to go Rod of Ages this game. Active Helm fits Crazy very cleanly.
Yep. Probably want to be getting themselves into teamfight situations as well as Ian grabs himself the blue buff. It's Beyond once again going to be doing them both at the same time. Probably why he got a little bit of extra speed. That's why he's camp ahead. Actually, a few camps ahead. It's 3. In the lead for Beyond. Feeling good on the Zac. Red buff going to be the next option as Ian once again finds Tempt, who wishes that the Merc Treads just did a little bit more than that as Bono. Yeah, it's going to find Ian. Actually, Portal jumps away. Tempt not opting in for the flash.
That was pretty bizarre.
Yeah, it takes a lot of damage back as well. I would have thought that they'd want to actually commit to that, but in the end didn't want to. Didn't know where Beyond was, maybe.
He's getting auto attack range really hard as he tried to get the auto in there.
Yeah.
He's going for a walk mid lane.
Yeah. Okay. In goes. Yeah, call the Forge God, but stopwatch. Gonna mean that Ian survives.
Reason why I was excited about Bono the first time he played was it seemed like immediate synergy between him and Tempt. Big problem with Trick was that Trick and Tempt seemed to be on different wavelengths when it came to the early to mid game especially, and it seemed to cost BBQ a couple of times in a row. But this game we've already seen Tempt and Bono around that gank. It seemed pretty all over the place in terms of commitment. Who knows what was said between series after a frustrating loss in game 1, but left a lot to be desired there. Didn't seem to be on the same wavelength.
Long time in lane here for these AD carries. Still about 100 CS before backing at all. So Pilot should have a decent back here. Uses all of his mana on that last True Shot Barrage. Cloud Drake, though, for BBQ should be pretty easy. As Max is going to face check Ignar. This is precisely what he doesn't want. Has to use the Monsoon.
He had a Blasting Plan around. He would have been fine, but it's going to be a slow Drake with still a confirmation. Howling Gale attempted to steal, so why not?
That would be the Max special. Okay, Temp's going to get kidnapped, but he's pretty tanky already. Trouble Bubble lands onto Ignar. He can take big damage from this one. Actually uses the flash, and Beyond doesn't have a target to pull back. Actually does. Finds one in the end. The Grey Health is eaten here from Ignar, but there's no flash available. In he goes. Beyond's going to grab First Blood, and Tempt may actually follow up. We've got a red buff slowing him down, but Justice Punch is finally able to be enough to get him out.
That was actually really well played by Beyond because of the ability to actually find a leash target with his Q. They get the kill onto the Tahm Kench. That's who they actually wanted the Trouble Bubble to hit as well. Otherwise, the Devour would have disengaged the Galio. It seemed like a fruitless engage by Beyond after they had already lost the Drake. But as it went on, the Trouble Bubble registering onto Ignar was the big one there. And that's so cute. So Max actually put down a ward to allow them to have something to order to. Adorable. That's what they needed. They get the kill there. First Blood onto Ignar. And a kill against the foe of the game again. But the Cloud Drake is picked up by BBQ.
That Ghost now getting bullied on the bottom side. So Cloud Drake probably not the best trade, and we're going back to Ocean Drakes again. Pop Smithy, I'm sorry. We really were enjoying the Mountain plus Cloud plus Infernal Drake combos that we were getting before.
I just want some action. We might see some more.
Yeah.
Nice silence.
Yeah, brilliant. Means that he's not going to be able to play Pong like he normally would, and ADD uses his flash, but does survive. Ian now coming in. He's going to get spotted by the ward, and BBQ want none of this. Not a bar of it, as they will move away from this outer turret. It should mean that MVP will have an opportunity to take down first brick. Monsoon's just going to be there, keeping everything alive. I think that kept the Siege minion alive for an extra turret shot, which is cute. Does it actually work on minions? I don't know. It just looked like it took extra damage.
All that's important is they take the first turret of the game. They can even allow minions to die. Oh, a lovely situation there for the side Pilot and Max. In the meantime, Bono and Crazy are going to try and take a Rift Herald and eventually enact their own turret, as we do finally see a lane assignment where ADD can walk up to Tempt and put some doubt in his mind.
Yep, wanders on over. Bono will be able to grab the Rift Herald though, so first brick does go over to MVP, but BBQ will have an opportunity to get back as, alright, they're looking for something. Is ADD in a bad position, but is he? Beyond comes in, Devour comes down, and Ian throwing in the paddle stars. ADD lasting for so extraordinarily long. Oh man, this Cho'Gath play is really working as Tempt takes so much damage.
Every single play that goes the way of MVP is getting a rapturous cheer by the cheer group here, Ian and friends.
It's been a long time since they've had much to cheer about, Papa.
So far, so good in this particular game. Big snowball purchase says,
oh wow, that's the 1-2 punch. Will he just get over? There we go. Oh no, not quite enough. Passive wasn't up yet again as Ian knows that he was robbed. Shot barrage. Whew. Okay, Pilot almost got that one.
I mean, the turret here gets the big shellacking out of all of this, not just the health bar on Ignar. It's a mid lane turret down to about 300 HP, something they can return to later. This feels like the super best friends from MVP when it comes to their synergy. Even with Pilot in the lineup, it's not the roster that started out the Challenger run in 2016 spring, but they're showing good synergy here, able to bail out ADD from what looked like a very obvious death and stick their lead. It's a real gold lead too. It's 3,000 at 13 minutes, which is quite large. Beyond also been able to be 19 CS, so what? 4.5 camps ahead of a Kha'Zix, and the threat of irrelevance for the Kha'Zix gets higher and higher. Redemption first purchase from Max after being involved in the first brick gold. They're actually in a pretty big window of power here right now, MVP.
An extraordinary one, because honestly, this composition shouldn't have been like this.
It's again one of these Caitlyn Galio comps that haven't got ahead in the early game, and now you think, all right, if they hit all the wombo, well, probably nothing happens. They don't have any damage. It's BF sword and some attack speed as they turn on to Tempt.
And Tempt could have a really rough time as the Trouble Bubble lands. Decent return damage, but Ian doesn't have anything more in the tank. Tempt just wanders his way out. Oh, another one lands. Paddlestar not going to be off cooldown just yet, even though the blue buff was there. Bono getting invisible. But Crazy and ADD still fighting. I'm glad that we're just watching the top lane / bottom lane fight all the time.
Elbow back to mid lane for Temp, trying to keep things competitive. They want to have a shoving lane to actually use the Rift Herald. Tony has about another minute left before it has to be channeled.
At this point, though, MVP just seem to have control everywhere.
Yep.
Even the Janna Ezreal doing great things. You mentioned the Iceborne Gauntlet helping out when it comes to the wave clear. Pilot utilizing that right now.
Oh, they're just pushing. They're happy to keep the push going because arguably they have a pretty big scaling advantage over BBQ, especially if this Caitlyn can never get towards 4 items.
Yeah.
So why not just push? Right now you're under no threat from the Kazakhs and you have a Janna to disengage.
Jesus, that's such an early redemption.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. The snowball redemption is massive in this game.
I'm actually sorry, Pop, because I wasn't paying attention.
Yeah.
When the redemption came down, I thought that was a spell.
Understandable.
Spell
But it's just such an early purchase from Max that it can reset a team fight kind of on its own from how early it was picked up. They continue to push. There's nowhere for the Kazakhs to go. It's going to be one of these anemic Rift Heralds that goes for a long journey of self-reflection before it gets anywhere near a minion wave, let alone
It was beautifully
turret.
described, Papa. Beautifully described.
what is it to be a Rift Herald?
I don't know. I've never spoken to Shelly.
Have you ever thought about it?
Oh, I've thought. It's quite profound. Yeah. Mad. Existential crises have been had about the Rift Herald quite often.
Well, it's sent to die in bot lane.
Yeah.
That feels bad.
So
Cho'Gath was literally there. Being
It's
like, I could be-
probably food.
Cho'Gath's probably going to be bigger than the Rift Herald. He is.
He is. Wait. Just eat it. Eat the Rift Herald.
He doesn't
Eat
have
it.
feast.
It's not about whether he
I see you're
he's
into
got it up or not.
I see you're into social eating streams, Atlas. You're mukbang.
I just wanted
Lovers.
to know whether Cho'Gath liked shellfish. Man, that was a
There's a
difficult tongue
sentence.
twister. Cho'Gath liked shellfish is what I meant.
Ian's going to do a lot of damage.
Yeah. Oh, good stopwatch timing.
That probably wouldn't have killed him, but it wouldn't have been far.
Crazy's not been having a good time.
No.
Getting silenced, getting hit with trouble bubbles. The Ocean Drake going to go over to MVP, and the crowd explodes.
They are just elated. They've had nothing to cheer for outside of one series, and that was almost entirely
They're all
SKT
going to
fans here.
hyperventilate because it's just so much cheering. They haven't been used to it.
It'd be much more responsible for MVP to win 2-0. I don't know if they could last 3 games.
Oh, wow, that timing was pretty good. Pretty bad from Temp, though, to be honest, is the Kidnap not going to be able to find the Galio.
But
this
beyond
will be
this-
the end of the turret.
Beyond's 3 kidnaps this game have been 2-man on a carry and now forced to flash out a Gallia. So far, the kidnaps have been great. Beyond Zach is making us a believer. First time on this season for the Zach.
It's all a bit like that here for MVP, actually, because Ian making us a believer on the Zoe as well. He's kept Temp shoved in, always prevented him from being able to use the hero's entrance at all for anything worthwhile, really. It's been an impressive performance by MVP, and it's only going to get worse for BBQ based on this composition. If MVP can make these fights work in the way that their comp wants it to, use the poke, use the Zoe to explode someone and siege under a turret.
It's a siege comp, right?
Yeah.
It's a siege against hard engage, but it's hard engage with Galio and Caitlyn. It was supposed to be reliable, but it's so tricky for BBQ to make work. And top lane.
Okay, they're going for the dive. Rogue
They
entrance.
disengage?
Yeah, gonna mean that Tempt comes in, but like you say, the disengage is super easy.
Again, it feels like Galio's been found out in a similar way to when Jungle Evelyn was in the meta. I'm talking about before the level 6 to go invisible, but people learn to ward camps as well. Ian gets the kill. That'll get the crowd going.
That's one hell of a paddling up towards the top side. That'll mean the end of the turret.
Max, Ian.
Bono. Okay, he's going to take so much damage. He's caught, though, by Stretch Armstrong right here. He's not going to get the bonk together, though, so MVP is going to continue shoving, waiting for this minion wave, dirty farming between these two top turrets.
But people learn to ward the camps against Evelyn, and people are disengaging, and Gallios are coming in and getting no value from Hero's entrance. Temp knows all about that from game 1. Beyond continues to invade.
And Bono doesn't actually have vision, so he's not going to be able to steal away this red buff. Max comes down, no engagement to come in, and they took as much as they could. This is huge.
So far behind. This is MVP. Best early game by a country mile.
With a comp that shouldn't be good in the early game necessarily.
And they've got a Cho'Gath, so theoretically, the Baron buff will be less 50.
And ADD has been having a great performance today. He really has been impressive.
You have to remember that it looked like MVP would be relegated last season until the patch came in that buffed tanks in the top lane, and who was our favorite Cho'Gath fan but ADD?
Yeah.
So he's on Ultra Comfort, Sion and Cho'Gath his wheelhouse. BBQ.
In fact, anyone that can build tank items.
BBQ haven't been looking for. Jace is in the top lane. Crazy's been largely on tank duty. Was on the Vlad, which spanned away this time, but because Bono was going to carry, they had a tank topside for initiation. Bono's been able to do nothing. Heavily behind Beyond when it comes to the jungle. MVP put a control ward on Baron, and this map is run by MVP.
Yeah. 20 minutes in, 30 seconds of life for the Baron thus far. You always need to check that if MVP are feeling in a great spot. You betcha that Baron's going to be going down real quick. Bono going to be discovered by Beyond. He's going to get caught. Yeah, the kidnap comes down all too easily. See you later, Bono.
That was really nice.
Very easy pick.
I believe Max actually interrupted the leap with the Q. He's a great Janna player. They're onto the Baron now.
This is the MVP special, and they've got Feast. There's no Smite on the side of BBQ. And misses a few abilities there as the Paddle Star flies forward, but they're just creating space, making sure that MVP have an opportunity here. BBQ get a nice triple knock-up, but the Baron is still on fire.
They're definitely not going to peel off it, guys, just in case you wonder.
This is MVP. That's what they like. 50-50 is the dream. The Feast is going to be enough attempt. Went for an attempted steal. Redemption going to come down. MVP have got more health than they ever needed in order to destroy Tempt, who's just having an off day.
And right now, it's a Cloud Drake short of a perfect game for MVP. Crazy thing to say out loud. I tried to tell you guys that this game was closer than it appears. Much closer, apparently.
Well, I don't know what BBQ are doing now, as Bono and Igna are going to be in just the wrong spot. Beyond lands every ability in his arsenal. And the catfish was delivered on a silver platter.
He delivered himself.
Yeah. I guess, yeah, an abyssal platter.
This is pretty awful from BBQ. After game one, which was very close to a victory for them, they're rolling over to MVP in game two. They're going to need that break, Atlas, because unless they can really turn this one around, it's going to be MVP's first 2-0 of the entire season.
Yeah, it was always 0-2 until they were able to get that 2-1 victory over SKT. This really does show that improvements have been made for MVP, but I think you're right in sort of saying that BBQ haven't looked the same. Even game number one, where there were mistakes, this is much worse.
There's huge gold, actually, in the inventory, sitting on 5,500 just between three members, and you start adding an extra 2,400, so 7,000 gold worth. Still 10,000 gold ahead, so it doesn't even matter. They're looking for the dive for the end.
Yeah, Call of the Forge God comes down. Ian has to get out of the way, but the tower is going to fall first. Low health bars on MVP, but Ian does make his way out. The portal jump is enough. Max somehow survives, and ADD is a brick wall in the front of this battle. 4 targets hit with the True Shot barrage as MVP move forward. Pilot picks up one flash from Ghost. No more mana. Has to get himself onto that fountain, and I don't know how no members of MVP died.
And they're looking to end on this push to stick it at 23 minutes. This is basically King Zone.
Yep. Teleport to come back from Ian as well. Had that spellbook well and truly unsealed. Redemption once again from Max to keep everyone topped up. Baron buff on the minions. Multiple dead inhibitors. Nexus turret 1 goes down. Nexus turret 2 should follow as the bloblets are still there for Beyond. The first time the passive comes down, and Bono, explosive damage comes out from Ian. Beyond finally dies, so no perfect game when it comes to the kills, but MVP, their first 2-0 of the season.
The crowd erupts, and they should. Great performance by MVP in game 2. A lot of people will look at the side of BBQ and wonder, but we must also celebrate the fact that MVP did basically everything right. They made a lot of great decisions. Beyond's first game on Zac will not be his last of Spring 2018. He looks wonderful as well, and it must feel so good to be on the side of MVP. They felt the struggle, they felt the depression and the existential crises. Today, they feel the elation of going into the break, feeling good about how they play League of Legends, which they needed a result like this to truly do.
Yeah, absolutely outstanding. I'm glad that you mentioned Beyond Zac. I feel like there's a chance that we may not see it, because that might need to be a fixture on the ban list, Papa, because this was very similar to what we saw out of Peanut as far as finesse on the champion in the fights.
And for BBQ, I think they need to spend their off-season working out their strongest lineup. I really truly believe after seeing a couple more games of Bono. The trick is on that lineup. I feel like he brings them something in terms of shot calling. He's been around the block many times. I think his experience would have helped them in game 2. That's why I thought he might be subbed in. He's not there. They rolled over. There's no other way to put it. This game was well played by MVP, but after the loss, BBQ rolls over. They lose in 24 minutes to MVP. Don't even look competitive against them. They should feel a bit sheepish. It was very desperately poor by BBQ, but great from MVP as well.
Yep, amazing stuff from MVP. Fans going completely ballistic for Ian. Like you say, I think I'm starting to believe you when you talk about rabid fan base. Is well and truly the most popular player on the team.
And then you look at MVP's history this season, and again, competitive in one game against KSV, beat SKT, very competitive in one game against Afrika, and now they just straight up smash BBQ.
Yeah.
Maybe we have anointed them the 10th place team too early. It seemed so obvious a few matches ago. What is obvious about the LCK, suddenly under the lens, is starting to make us wonder. The balls are all up in the air, and where they lie, we still don't know. And maybe MVP can deny themselves, and they've never actually been in the relegation tournament. They might be able to get out of it here since. They won in 23-45.
That's ridiculously fast. And look at the damage that Ian was dishing out.
You gave him some mess for his Zoe. He hadn't been impressive before. This was great.
Absolutely. I'm glad to eat these words though, Papa, because this feels like the return of the old hopeful MVP, where they had cohesion, where they looked like they were good. It wasn't exactly a star-studded roster. I mean, it was Max really being the true superstar of this team when they were in the height of MVPdom last year. But now, looking like we're making a bit of a calling back.
And we've seen junk bans against MVP because we're like, what do you ban against them? Suddenly, Cho'Gath looks like a ban, even above the Scion, for example. Zac is something they're playing very, very well. Now you actually have to think about the Zoe, that they were able to win around. They played a good game around a Zoe. It wasn't a disgusting Zoe. It was a good team performance. Surely the MVP here is going to be Ian, and it will be. So even though Beyond has a great game, the fans get exactly what they wanted. They wanted to see Ian. They wanted to see an Ian interview. They get one.
I feel like it might be a little bit of fan service, Papa Smithy, because Beyond was absolutely exceptional, but a lot of these paddle stars were landing, and if you talk about most improved player, as he misses one to start this one off, if you talk about most improved player, I think that Ian deserves it for this one. Oh, so cute from Beyond of Max, though. Are we going to watch a Beyond highlight reel and then give the MVP to Ian? Is that
We've been there before. Kuro, of course, felt that pain after his LeBlanc game. Watching the replays here, this is where ADD was dead, right? Dead to rights. 4 members on top of him. None of them big damage dealers because Bono was zoned. But the evacuation by Beyond of 2 tanks and then Ian coming over was so big. This is the same passage of play. Huge paddle star onto temp. Great accuracy there. Ignar with this one. Let's watch this one here. Watching the replay.
He survived that, though.
He did. But we're just getting a highlight reel. He's hitting all of them, Atlas, which is important. By Ghost, he was caught in position. We had an Ezreal and a Caitlyn both die during a Lion AoE clear. This is where Ignar decided to go into the back line and just,
that was the abyssal delivery.
Visit the gray screen, I guess you call that one.
The abysmal voyage, is that what you call it?
Something like that.
Yeah.
Watching
Somehow
Ignar
no
here.
MVP members die here.
I want to watch Ignar here, because Ignar died once again with his Grace Squad. We're not going to see the replay, but Ignar did not have the best game here. The Alistar gone, and sadly the Engage support's also gone for Ignar.
Yeah.
BBQ need the time off, but MVP needs to celebrate.
Yeah, an MVP might have an opportunity as we come back from the Lunar New Year to make things happen, but speaking of making things happen, let's make an interview happen and throw it over to Joel for some translation.
Thank you very much, guys. This is Joel with your last interview translation of the day. It definitely has been a day of weirdness today as we see MVP on the winning side this time around, and they pull off a miraculous 2-0 victory against BBQ Oliver. We'll be speaking with their MVPs today for an interview. Haven't heard the MVP fans this loud in quite a while.
Damn.
How is it having all these fans cheering for you? You know, our fans have always been loyal. I'm glad that I have something to cheer about today. How does it feel to get the win? There's nothing that makes me happier than getting victories, and I want to continue to feel this emotion for later matches. How do you feel right now?
좋은 모습을 못 보여드리다가 이번에
It's been a long struggle of being, disappointing our fans with unsatisfying performances, and to be able to win today means a lot for us.
예, 그래서 어쨌든 양 팀 다 뭐 예전부터 어떻게 보면 라이벌이었고 둘 다 좋은
And we knew that MVP and BBQ had a little bit of rivalry going on between the two teams, and
중요한 경기였잖아요.
of course it was a very important game for both of you guys in terms of records. We didn't have much in mind, and we just thought that this was another game that we had to win, and didn't think about the past too much, and just had to worry about getting the win, and we're glad that we got that done. Got the MVP in game 1 with Tarek here. We thought that the opponent did a good job of countering back with what you guys were throwing at. I think it was a rune that was a little bit unique for the opponent, so we try to take advantage of it as much as we can. How was it on game 1 for you, Ian?
일단 한번 뻘로 던졌단 말이에요. 근데
I was trying to
열심히 때리다 보니까
throw out skill shots one after the other, hoping one of them hits nicely, and thankfully good enough of them did hit. That allowed us to get the win.
요즘 또 타릭이 멋진 장면이 많이 나오잖아요.
It seems like the Tarek sees a lot of highlight reels in recent meta. I was trying to make sure that most of our teammates, as many as they can, gets the ultimate as possible.
그리고 조합도 되게 단단하게 구성하면서
We thought that the composition that you guys came up with was definitely a lot more enduring when it came to how you guys had held up the opposition attacks. I mean, we were talking about Cho'Gath and Sion being one of the staple picks for our teammate, and we're glad that we got it done with this specific champion today. I mean, did you not think that if Skarner wasn't banned, would you have played it today?
스카는 진짜 좋아요.
I think he's in love with Skarner right now at the moment. Feels like anytime it's an open opportunity, he would definitely play it. What about Nunu?
조금은 쓸 수 있지 않을까?
I guess he can use it a little bit.
그런 거.
I'm sure he
좋다고 생각해요.
doesn't know how to use it.
스카너 때와는 또 온도 차이가 좀 있네요.
Definitely a difference in the amount of excitement when it comes to the two different questions, Skarner and Nunu.
사실 그동안의 이한 선수의 조이가 사실 좋지 않은 모습.
And we saw that Ian, your Zoes haven't produced the results that you were looking for. And how is it playing? How did it feel to play it this day? Feels like during practice and during scrims, it always has been pretty good, but the skills haven't really hit their targets in the competitive play. And but I did get to touch my head coach's hand and trying to receive the blessing from him, and hopefully that gets me better in my win. But after holding his hand, all my skill shots started hitting, and I think that was the win, the way to my victory of that one.
정말 인상적인 장면이었는데 사실 조이만이 또 만들어낼 수 있는 그런 장면인 것 같아요.
Of course, this is something that only a Zoe could do here.
킹조 감독님의
And this was what you were talking about.
손을 잡으니까
It's the blessing, man. It's the blessing of his hand transferring that power over to me, and that's what allowed me to get that hit shot right there.
맞아요. 이런 것도 되게 멋져 보였는데 좀 어떠셨어요?
We actually thought that Janna was a little bit of a unique pick for you, knowing as a player. I think the Janna was really good in that counter matchup that I was going up against with the opposition, and we thought that it was going to be a safe pick going throughout the game.
실제로 그동안에 뭐 1승 했고 오늘 2승째이긴 합니다.
Of course, you did get one win, and now you have the second win.
짜임새 있게 잘 풀어나간 것 같거든요.
It feels like you guys are now working on a pretty good win streak going on, at least for a little bit. And I knew that Ian had a lot of confidence in Zoe today, and that itself was a huge benefit when it came to our chances of winning today.
끝났다 2대 0.
제가 라인전 때 수면을 좀 잘 맞췄거든요.
Yeah, it was during the laning phase when I got the sleep.
엄청 좋은 게
When I got the sleep on, and it hit most of the time with accuracy. I knew that the game was gonna actually go very well today, and had that feeling going all the way through.
그래서 그 모든 것들이 다 맞아 떨어지면서 오늘 승리를 가져갔다. 이런 말씀해 주셨습니다. 오늘이 이제 연휴 전에
And today is must be a very feel good win going into the holidays.
저희 큰 형이 조카가 있는데 100일째 제가 못
My older brother has a child, and I wanted to see my nephew, and I couldn't do it before because I was playing so much. But now I get the chance to see him.
이제 쉬다가 다시 와서
I would like to, rest, get some nice rest, and come back up, get ready for competitive play once again.
8.3 버전이 나중에 이제 진행되잖아요. 연휴가.
We know that 8.3 will be coming out after the break, and how do you feel about that one? I'm planning of using support Swain, mid Swain, top Swain, and whatever Swain can go with. Whatever Swain lets me do, I will play it. We have a lot of fans. I'm cheering on for you guys. Would you like to say anything in regarding today's win? Both of you guys will be able to say something.
뭐하라 했죠?
각오 한 말씀.
각오, 예.
네.
이번 설 연휴 이제 좀 쉬고 이제
We want to get some nice rest during the lunar holidays,
꼭 이겨서 이제
and we want to come back and get more wins on the board, and hopefully that will get us right back on track.
네, 그럼 맥스 선수 마지막으로
Max, anything you'd like to say?
부탁드리겠습니다.
네, 여러분들 설 연휴 때 먹는 음식들은 살 안 찌니까.
You can eat as much as you want in the lunar holidays. You will not get fat off of it, so trust me on that one, and you can have as much as you want.
Max confirmed.
And with the wise words coming from Max, and also from Ian, MVP gets a great win with 2-0 over BBQ Oliver. We're going to send it back to you guys.
Thank you very much, Joel. And thank you very much, Max, because I was planning on eating a lot over the lunar holidays, so I'm glad that I'm not going to get
for your
fat.
thanks.
Oh god, it's confusing. It's confusing. But
This
what's
is
also
confusing
confusing is
too!
MVP just won, yes! 2-0 as well. Game 1 took a long time, but Game 2 was a quick shellacking from the old MVP, and they looked real good doing it with a composition that shouldn't have been able to stomp someone out that hard.
Lower your roosters, OGN Legion.
But
9th
raise
place
your
now
MVPs.
for BBQ. MVP is now at 10th. And you might wonder, why is MVP below SKT, even though they have the head-to-head guys in Korea? The way it goes is first match score, then game score, then head-to-head. So because they have a worse game score at -9, they are behind SKT, even though head-to-head matters more in other regions like NA.
Yep, that is true. BBQ Olivers, though, if MVP are able to pick up a win, not next week, but of course the week after.
Oh, Sunday matchups.
Oh my god, they're
It's the first time OGN's admitted they exist.
But they also look really good. Excited to see KT Rolls to bounce back, and then KSV versus SKT, the test.
And then we come back on the 20th, guys. So notice 9 days between match days. So join us tomorrow. You want to see some sick Korean League of Legends before the 20th. Come back with more SKT, that time against Kongnu Monster. And a big one, KSV versus KT Rolster. Both of them losing recently. But the next OGN matchup, it's on the 21st, so a long time from today. So sorry for the longer break. Lunar New Year, Chinese New Year festivities here in Korea. We come back with a fun one, a Freak of Freaks versus Jin Air. And some good matchups during the week. Probably a rough one for BBQ.
Yeah, rough one for BBQ. Also, Kongdu Monster trying to go again against KSV.
And Win is trying to get through this as fast
win.
as possible, apparently.
Yeah, but look at Kingzone Dragon X versus the Freak. Freak Saturday is going to be popping off in a couple of weeks' time.
But it's so far.
Oh man, that is going to be such a good series.
That's 2
though.
weeks today.
I know, but still, Papa, you got something to look forward to.
Yay!
Oh, Papa Smithy hasn't been casting enough League of Legends. Guys, he just needed more.
I'll be in every Twitch chat memeing during the break, don't worry. But yeah, it's the last OGN day here, so thank you very much, OGN Legion, for joining us. Long break. We'll be at the Gangnam Stadium tomorrow with Brendan Valdez for some fun matches, but when it comes to the OGN festivities, that sick intro, it's going to be a while.
Yeah, that is true, but still a lot of fun matches to look forward to. And it's been a brilliant start to the season as well. Feels like a really exciting LCK Spring so far, but that is going to be it from us. We'll see you tomorrow over at Gangnam Stadium for more LCK. See you then.
We have a lot of time, by the way.
Oh,
That's why I'm extra slow.
I messed it up because Custogen's taking a little bit longer.
You just got too excited. You KT rolls to the outro.
I know, every time.
I'm much better at it.
He's having like a good giggle. Do you want to do it?
See you later.
Peace.